Corsa Sport with the Black Pro Series tip should appeal to the 2015 and newer 3.5 EcoBoost owners out there looking for a noticeable increase in volume over their factory system, would prefer a premium system in regards to build quality materials, and maybe most importantly would like to keep things as quiet as possible inside the truck. This certainly will be an expensive system at just south of $1,200, but the simple bolt-on installation will get a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter from me, with more to come later in the video. So I found over the years that the Corsa systems, whether it be for your F-150, your Mustang, or whatever, are definitely going to be one of your top options when it comes to the aftermarket exhaust category, and not just in construction and fitment, but also tone. And you guys heard the sound clips with this thing. You're getting a decent amount of volume and tone with the Corsa Sport, which by the way is the milder of the two options from Corsa. Your other being the face melting extreme system, which will be considerably louder than the Sport system here. But breaking down the volume a little bit more here, I do have the Corsa Sport coming in at a middle of the road 3 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to wake the neighbors scale. I do want to point out that EcoBoost owners out there who might want to try to stay a little bit more under the radar, this one might be on the borderline for you, as you definitely are picking up some noticeable volume over the factory system. But with that being said, there will be louder or more aggressive systems out there. But sticking with the sound a little bit further, one thing I always like to point out with the Corsa systems is the total lack of drone while cruising on the highway. So yes, you're going to be hearing this thing on the outside of the truck. Inside, on the other hand, is going to remain dead quiet. That's largely due to the fact that Corsa implements their RSC technology, or reflective sound cancellation tech, on all of their systems. So basically you can expect a very quiet in-cab experience, even with their more aggressive systems like the Corsa Extreme we talked about earlier. But with the sound out of the way, let's get into the construction a little bit more here. And as I briefly mentioned up top, nothing but the best from Corsa. This does include premium 304 grade stainless steel construction throughout, perfect welds, 3-inch mandrel bent tubing. Again, just what you're looking for when you're dropping 4 digits plus for an aftermarket exhaust system. Now the Corsa is a single side exit system, meaning it will dump in the factory location right behind that passenger side rear tire, but with the very sexy twin 4-inch Black Pro Series tip. Now Corsa does give you the option of picking up a standard polished tip instead for a little less dough, and you can find that on the site as well if that's a look you prefer. And speaking of price, if you're familiar with the Corsa stuff, then you know you're going to be dropping a decent chunk of change to get a Sport onto your F-150, and that certainly is the case with this system. $1,100 to $1,200 is what you're looking at here. Not the most expensive system in the category, but it is certainly in the premium range. Switching gears, let's talk about the install a little bit more, and don't expect anything out of the ordinary here with the Corsa. 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, no cutting, no permanent modification. Instead, you should be able to have this in place in about an hour or so from start to finish. Tool-wise, basic socket set, cordless impactor air will certainly speed things up. Lift, jack and jack stands, or race ramps will give you a little bit more room to work. And then last but not least, I always recommend a little spray lube to help you with some rusty bolts or those stubborn rubber exhaust hangers. Getting started, you'll need to make room for that new Corsa system by removing your factory system. So loosen up the clamp closest to the resonator and slide the exhaust system off the hangers in one piece, setting it aside carefully. Now you can get to work hanging the new Corsa Sport in reverse order. Start with the muffler itself, followed by your over axle pipe, and then finally the tip, but save your final tighten up of all of the clamps till the very end. This way it just gives you a little bit more movement with the system to check for any possible clearance issues that you might encounter. Once everything is good to go, go ahead and tighten up your clamps and your installation is complete. So wrapping this one up, if you're a 3.5 EcoBoost owner out there looking to turn things up over the factory exhaust and prefer a high quality system, you'll definitely want to check out the Corsa Sport right here at AmericanTrucks.com.